a fantasy of what this draft could have looked like in another timeline. It's time to kind of spin your crystal ball around, if you may, but I have here Mel Kiper's 2008 draft.
Okay.
What would have happened? And he has Miami as having the number one pick here, and they take Glenn Dorsey, number one overall. If you could just fact check me on these players as I go through.
Yeah, Glenn Dorsey ended up going to the Chiefs, 5th overall. I don't think that would have changed many things, but Miami has Glenn Dorsey in this scenario. Very cool.
And then Chris Long goes to the Rams. I believe he played for the Rams at some point, right? Still
He was
goes
drafted
there.
by the Rams. Chris Long was, yeah.
Matt Ryan still goes to the Falcons.
Okay.
Darren McFadden still goes to the Raiders. Okay.
Okay.
And then the Chiefs take Jake Long.
Okay. Tackle. Cool.
And then Vernon Goldstein goes to the Jets.
Not a lot of changes so far.
The Patriots from San Francisco trade up and draft Aqib Talib at number 7. Yo! Mel was cooking with that one.
Okay. I like that one. I mean, he ended up playing for the Patriots eventually, but I mean, the Patriots of
If we
that
had him the whole
time.
time.
Yeah, I mean, who was their corners at that time? I don't even know. But yeah, they would have been. That was the team that was just coming off of the Matt Castle era, too. And they just gotten rid of Rodney Harrison. Could have been interesting. And Ty Law.
And then Baltimore takes Cedric Ellis.
Nice.
Cincinnati takes Philip Merling.
I don't even see this guy on the list. Where the fuck did Philip Merling even... Philip Merling goes in the 2nd round. Mel Kiper, what are you talking about?
He
Mel
goes
Kiper
at
was
9. Also, like, we didn't talk about how Darren McFadden is 4 in this running back class, when he's probably the
5th best running... Yeah, maybe the 3rd or 4th best running back.
I would take Matt Forte, Ray Rice, and Chris Johnson over him. Maybe over Rashard Mendenhall, but
I would take him over Rashard Menningham. But I also think that, yeah, he had 2,000-yard seasons. Like, he was not an excellent running back.
and then the at number 10, the New Orleans Saints take Kentwan Balmer.
Cool.
At number 11, this is the first receiver drafted, is Malcolm Kelly to Buffalo.
Okay, just bust wide receiver going to the Broncos. Okay. He knew that they weren't good at drafting, I guess.
And then, so the Bills take Malcolm Kelly, and then the Broncos take Ryan Clady at offensive tackle. The Panthers take Jeff Ota instead of
Jonathan Stewart.
Yeah.
Well, he fizzled out 3 years later, so probably not the pick that the Panthers wish they had.
Chicago takes Sam Baker, USC tackle.
Okay. Didn't play very long.
Detroit takes Ladouis McClelvin, corner. Arizona takes Jonathan Stewart out of Oregon.
Okay. I mean, that would have worked out good for them.
And then this one he cooked on. Minnesota takes Deshaun Jackson at number 17.
I mean, that fits with the narrative of the Vikings, right? The Vikings always have good receivers. They always draft them well. And I think this was...
Did they have
I don't really know
Randy
the
then?
history, like where they were, but they've always been good with drafting receivers. So that would have fit the timeline.
Yeah, the fact that he has him like going that high when he didn't fall till the second round, then he was like still taken pretty late in the second round.
Yeah.
The Texans take Malcolm Jenkins out of South Florida. That's a great corner.
Yes.
He's a fit on the Texans. And then Chris Williams to the Eagles, offensive tackle. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers take X Jones.
Okay.
The
I'm dying to know where Joe Flacco goes.
Yeah. The Washington Redskins take Calais Campbell.
Okay. That would have been a home run pick for them.
And then Dallas trades from Cleveland for Mario Manningham.
That would have been great.
Wait, where
That
is
team
Mario Manningham in this draft?
Mario Manningham doesn't get drafted until like the 3rd round. Mario Manningham fell super far. Like,
And
he's
then-
got players in this draft that don't end up getting drafted until way later. Mario Manningham was a
And
3rd
then they're
round
actually
pick.
good, too. Like, he actually
Yeah.
had some pretty solid ones.
Yeah. Mario Manningham was the 95th overall pick. 3rd round pick.
3rd round pick, damn. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers take Chilo Rochelle, offensive guard. He has the Titans taking Lemus Swede.
Okay.
This is where Mel was right and where Mel was horribly wrong.
Yeah.
And then the Seattle Seahawks take tight end Fred Davis.
Yeah. That wouldn't have done that. That wouldn't have changed the timeline whatsoever.
Let's see. Jacksonville takes Derek Harvey. San Diego takes Reggie Smith. The Dallas Cowboys take at 28 Rashard Mendenhall because they traded back in this draft.
So they would have had Mario Manningham and Rashad Mendenhall.
Yeah.
That would have been interesting.
with Jason Witten.
Could have been fun. Tony Romo.
And then, so San Francisco trades from Indy and they draft James Hardy. Okay.
Okay.
And then Green Bay takes Keith Rivers. The Giants take Dan Connor. And then the New England Patriots forfeit their pick.
Okay. And in this draft, Joe Flacco is not going in the first round, according to Mel Kiper.
Yeah, but that is Mel Kiper's
Oh, I know why they
2008 mock draft.
I know why they forfeited that pick. That was the Deflate Gate, not Deflate Gate, Spygate.
Spygate. Yeah.
Yeah, they got rid of his first round pick. That makes sense because the Patriots cheated.
That's why they had to suck for 10 years.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, that's what Patriots fans are excited about is Stefon Diggs and Julian Edelman and Gronk talking about how Stefon Diggs is pissed at the Bills.
I believe it. I don't know, like the last year in Buffalo, it just felt like the entire time he was just pissed to be there. Whether it was like Josh Allen, the organization, like I just felt like he was super fed up. I don't know what it was that might have caused him to do that, but him signing with the Patriots, doing the revenge tour potentially for them. You heard that Stefon Diggs signed with the Patriots?
Yeah. Yeah, of course I heard Stefon Diggs sign with the Patriots, and they gave him $29 million guaranteed.
Yeah, it was $69 million for 3 years when I think it was $27 million guaranteed. But I've heard a bunch of people online say that it was an overpay. I personally think that it was an appropriate pay for Stefon Diggs. Like, he's coming off of an ACL. It's probably not the most ideal signing. For a team that's number one receiver was Mac Hollins to start, that's the best person you're going to get. And then you can address it in the draft as well, whether with Travis Hunter or McKinnon. But yeah, I think where the Patriots are, I think it's a great signing.
Yeah, I think it's a great signing as well here, especially like you still have a top draft pick and you can now go out there and you take the pressure to take a receiver at like your top first round pick. You can now just take the best player available at that position and that'll be good enough for you. And then like people saying like, oh, the Patriots overpaid for Stefon Diggs. Like, yeah, or they had to overpay for him or he wasn't going to go there. Like when you're a bad team until you're really good, at some point, like getting started, you have to
Yeah, and I'll look at the contract too, like how it breaks down, because ultimately they're going to pay him $27 million up front. And then ultimately, if they wanted to get out of this deal, they could get out of this deal next year, ultimately. Like they could void it out. Ultimately, he has $27 million guaranteed, which I feel like if you're going to just pay him that up front, he's worth, I think, $25 million if he's playing at his full capabilities, especially when you have people like Jamar Chase who are getting $40 million, Justin Jefferson. I don't think he's the Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase level player anymore, but I mean, I think he's worth 25 to 30 million. If he's playing like 90% of what Stefon Diggs was playing at before, he's still a top 15 receiver, top 20 receiver in the league still. And I would still think 25 million is appropriate for him, as long as he plays up to what he's been playing at his entire career.
Yeah. No, like honestly, for like the Patriots, like they would, if you ask them like if they would rather like draft a tackle, if you told them like, hey, signing a receiver to a bad contract will allow you to take a tackle in the first round, they'll be like, absolutely. Any excuse we can have to take a tackle with our highest overall pick than a receiver. So it's like Stefon Diggs also gives them some wiggle room where you need to spend an extra $25 million to, if you don't hit it in the draft, you know you're not totally screwed. Because like sure, Stefon Diggs could get injured, but at the same time he could also like help you draft and give you some advice if he knows any players. But he can also like, if you miss on a receiver and he's healthy for the whole year, you at least know you have someone, even if he's not a top 10 receiver anymore.
Yeah, I think ultimately, like, you were going into the season with Mac Hollins as your number one and Jalen Polk, who sucks, frankly, not a very great receiver. Stefon Diggs, even if he's 80 or 70% of the Stefon Diggs we know and love, I still think he's going to be able to help whoever they end up drafting, because I do think that they're going to ultimately address the wide receiver position in the draft. They kind of have to. And then maybe in the earlier rounds, if they want to get running backs, like they can go after someone like a Cam Scatabo potentially.
Yeah, Cam Scatabo or Russell Westbrook.
Yes, precisely. Speaking of Russ, though, outside of Stefon Diggs, Russell Wilson, Danger Russ, going to New York as a New York Giant. Him and Jameis Winston, actually, are both New York Giants.
Yeah, no, I saw the meme. It was like the Giants locker room after Jameis and Russ have been preaching at you It's like, damn, this is gonna be a tough team. Like honestly, like, this is gonna be a fun one for the Giants. This is gonna be a great season because we're gonna see Russ play, we're gonna see Jameis play, and we're gonna see Tommy DeVito play, and none of it's gonna be good.
And the best part of it is at the end of it, all of everybody involved is going to get fired. The head coach, the GM, all the quarterbacks that are involved, and ultimately they're going to suck so bad that Arch Manning is going to fall in their lap.
Oh, wow, that'd be so convenient if the Giants got the number one pick and he played for the same team as his uncle. That'd be crazy.
I mean, if LeBron can say that the NBA is rigged, would it be crazy to say that the Giants suck so bad that the Manning goes to another massive market like the Giants? I think that's very safe to say. I mean, who's to say that the Giants are not going to want to tank for Arch Manning, and that could set up their future for the next 15 years?
Bro, how sad is that though? Like, I feel like we always get caught up in this tanking conversation randomly, and it's always so interesting to me, especially comparing sports. But, like, how fascinating is it that, teams will still tank knowing it's semi rigged and then it just won't work out year in and year out? I feel like that's worse because in the NFL, like, it's honestly exciting to see who's going to get the number one pick because, like, sometimes it can come down to a FU moment from Lovie Smith where it's like, tanking is actually a skill. Like sucking is a skill. Like how bad should we actually suck? So it's like I feel like the art, like losing is kind of an art form to get the number one pick. And like how a team got to the number one pick, how bad they were. It's like I feel like the lottery versus that. I feel like the NFL teams trying to get to the number one pick is more of an art form than the lottery.
Oh yeah, I mean we're going through the draft and like we talked about the top 5 picks, but like let's not forget that the reason why the Jets don't have Trevor Lawrence is because they won a meaningless game in January and they didn't get Trevor Lawrence. Now, granted, that draft didn't matter. They ended up getting Zach Wilson. But, like, I also think, like, the Lovie Smith scenario and then this scenario, like, the fucking tackles that would have missed out on, like, ultimately, the people that you end up thinking are going to be the king shits of the draft don't end up panning out at the end of the day.